Service of the NTA.
It is realized that there is
food insecurity in Nigeria.
Our focus is to see how we can replace
better and meaningful country.
We have a robust
Nigeria. We hate you. We greet you.
Within the extension of the budget, we amplify.
Hello and welcome. As the clock ticks down on the year 2024, Nigerians from all walks of life are reflecting on the triumphs, challenges and turning points that have shaped our nation's journey. From the corridors of power to the streets of our cities, from the farms to the factories, and from the classrooms to the boardrooms, 2024 has been a year of significant events, bold decisions, and emerging trends. In this special broadcast, we will take a comprehensive look at some of the major events and issues that defined 2024, sector by sector. We will reflect on these developments and examine how these interconnected threads have woven together to create the exciting yet intricate tapestry that is 2024. I'm Ian Ray John, and this is Reflections 2024. The start of 2024 cemented a shift in power dynamics and the emergence of new leadership and alliances in Nigeria's political space. Under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, the executive arm of government pushed its renewed hope agenda with commitments to key reforms, social welfare, good governance, as well as strengthening public institutions. From key policy decisions to major project launches, President Bola Tinubu definitely had a very busy year. Let's review some of the efforts by the president in the year under review and how they are connected to the drive for growth, development, and progress in Nigeria. We'll begin with the first quarter, of course, January to March 2024 education sector boost. President Bola Tinubu approved 683 billion naira intervention funds for talent. And also, there was economic renewal when the president presented the 2024 budget, 27.5 trillion naira precisely, to the National Assembly. A look at the second quarter now, April to June 2024, of course, electricity reform was top of priority for the president as he signed the 2024 Electricity Act, empowering state governments to establish their own regulated electricity markets. Judiciary landmark judgment, of course, the Supreme Court ruled on local government autonomy, and President Tinubu pledged to enforce through an inter-ministerial committee. Let's focus on the third quarter now. That's July to September 2024. I'm sure you recall that President Tinubu's administration implemented policies to give more powers and resources to state governments. On tax reforms, President Bola Tinubu proposed tax reforms to reduce personal and income taxes with bills pending before the National Assembly. The fourth quarter is next, October to December 2024. Energy investments, President Bola Tinubu secured final investment decision on Bonga North Deep offshore oil project worth over $5 billion. Tinubu also hosted heads of states from India and Germany and embarked on a state visit to France, strengthening Nigeria's diplomatic ties. Of course, these are only a few of the president's key activities in 2024. Let me bring in State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab at this point to fill us in with some other details.
Yes, Ira, you're spot on for some of those milestones you have mentioned in the outgoing year. Now, let me take it up from where you left off. Very, very significant also was the presidential media chat held. That was the maiden edition. It enabled the president to speak to some issues through the representatives of media. The president was questioned on those policies, programs of his administration, and he also defended the size of his cabinet. Now, what has that been able to achieve? If there were doubt in some quarters, hitherto, the president has been able to convince Nigerians and investors alike that he remains focused and resolute on his convictions that those reforms he's been carrying out are very, very necessary for this country and its economy. And you also highlighted some of international engagement of the president, and one of the important ones was the recent trip to France, though there have been some mixed reactions to that, but let's take this package to see the heart of the president's engagement in France and some of his activities in the outgoing year. On arrival, alongside First Lady Oluremi, there were signs of great recognition right from the early airports, Paris. But certainly, that was not as significant as the reception with full military honors at the French Military Museum. The subsequent meetings at the Elysee Presidential Palace also bore fruits in new bilateral agreements and other future possibilities. The agreements are to ensure a partnership on the development of critical infrastructure and the long-term sustenance of agriculture and food security, as well as solid minerals development between both countries. On domestic issues, the administration took a decisive step in addressing the perennial farmer-herders clashes in part of the country by inaugurating an implementation committee on livestock reforms. The committee, co-chaired by Professor Atahiru Jega, took over from an earlier reform committee headed by former Kano State Governor Umar Ganduje.
We have seen solution, and I believe the prosperity is here in your hands.
With total support as the chairman, President Tinubu received the recommendations in a 152-page report from the committee in September. The president gave expression to his commitment toward the sectoral reform with the immediate establishment of a Livestock Development Ministry to harness the potentials in the sector as recommended by the committee. Barely 16 months into the renewed hope mandate, the president found the need to realign his administration structures. The exigencies saw the renaming of Niger Delta Ministry as Ministry of Regional Developments, scrapping of the Federal Ministry of Sports, relief of 5 ministers, reassignment of 10, and appointment of 7 new ones.
Yours is a duty to serve, and that's what you've come to do.
The president has also set the direction for his administration in the 2025 fiscal year with the presentation of a 49.7 trillion naira budget to the National Assembly, titled Budget of Restoration, Securing Peace, Rebuilding Prosperity. The appropriation bill clearly acknowledges the social and economic realities and how to address them in the coming year. And one interesting thing that we have to mention is the fact that the president has not shied away from acknowledging that Nigerians have been going through a lot since he began these reforms, and recently he has now come out to say that the economy is healing, and the managers of the economy are also corroborating that fact that the economy is bouncing back. So Nigerians can only wait to see a reinvigorated momentum, rejuvenated economy that will ensure the prosperity, greater prosperity that Nigerians have been expecting from this administration.
State House correspondent Musbaudan will have there. Thank you so much for the more elaborate highlight of the president's key activities in 2024. Now let's take a look at the National Assembly with the Senate in focus as a body committed to fostering unity and driving meaningful development for the Nigerian people. The 10th National Assembly, specifically the Senate, embraced and projected collaboration for progress as its guiding philosophy. For 2024, the Senate's plan was essentially hinged on legislating for the nation's growth by strengthening its partnership with the executive arm of government, bridging gaps in corporate governance and addressing pressing national issues. Our National Assembly correspondent, Lami Ali, delves into the pivotal activities of the Senate in 2024, capturing how the synergy between the legislature and the executive helped shape the pursuit of Nigeria's aspirations and resolved some complex governance challenges in the year under review.
We will make sure that we listen to Nigerians and dot the I's and cross the T's to the satisfaction of all Nigerians and for the benefit of this country. We will not keep the reform that you bring forward that will change the future of this country.
When we're also going through the kind of socio-economic and political situation that we're going through as a nation, you see that there cannot be a better time, for the legislative arm to collaborate with the executive arm.
The 10th Senate, no doubt, toed this line of collaboration, leading to the passage of legislations that are profound to improve security, economy, and livelihood of Nigerians. Key legislations passed by the Senate in 2024 include the 70,000 Naira minimum wage bill, the 300% salaries increase for judicial officers, and the repeal and reenactment of the 2024 budget, increasing the figure from 28.7 trillion to 34.9 trillion naira. Other development-related legislations passed in 2024, some of which have been assented to for equity across the sub-regions of Nigeria, are Development Commission's establishment bills. Perhaps the most historic of legislations in 2024 is the comeback of the old national anthem, which attracted overwhelming positive response from Nigerians.
I want you to listen to the meaning. Nigeria, we hate you, we greet you. Our own dear native land. Our own dear native land. This is our land. We don't have any other.
In line with constitutional powers, Senate confirmed appointees of the President, among them 7 new ministers, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and the Chief of Army Staff. As is the practice with each assembly, the 10th Senate is in the process of constitutional review, and already interests are being voiced.
Create an additional state for Southeast. So Southeast can have 6 states in terms of other zones of the Federation.
We're looking at creation of coastal states. The reason for this is not about bringing demands for state creation. The coastal state is Ondo South Senatorial District, where I come from.
The 10th Senate is expected to pass the budget after resumption as it continues work on the tax reform bills. As the chapter closes on 2024, the lawmakers reflect on some events, like the suspension of Senator Abdul Ningi over allegations of budget padding and the removal of Mohammed Ali Ndume as chief whip, with Mohammed Tahir Munguno taking his place after the APC hierarchy expressed disappointment on some of his utterances. Beyond the achievements and other happenings in 2024, the death of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who represented Anambra South, remains fresh in the memory of lawmakers in the 10th Senate. Lami Ali, NTA News.
All right, many thanks, Lami Ali. Let's see the third state of the realm now, the judiciary. In 2024, the push for reform was also evident in the judicial system as the federal government sought to address long-standing challenges. Even now, as the administration focuses on judicial reforms on the verge of a new year, it's imperative that these efforts are aligned with the broader objectives of strengthening the legal and institutional framework necessary to support economic growth and good governance. Olabode Arewa examines some of the key judicial reforms introduced by the federal government since the Tinubu administration took office and how the collaboration between the executive and legislative branches is shaping the future of Nigeria's justice system.
Upon his swearing in on the 29th of May 2023, President Bola Tinubu signaled his intention to administer a government unusual, focused on a strong, market-driven economy that harnesses public entrepreneurial spirit and innovation. The president appointed Lateef Fagbemi, an experienced legal practitioner and senior advocate of Nigeria, as Attorney General and Minister of Justice to midwife the legal reforms that will support this move. Reflecting on the past experiences of the nation towards inspiring the future, the Attorney General of the Federation, in response to public concerns about the lack of financial and administrative autonomy for local governments in the country, filed a suit at the Supreme Court to enforce the Executive Order 10 of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration that asserts the financial and administrative autonomy of the 774 local government areas of the country from the control of the state governments. In a well-applauded verdict delivered on 11th July 2024, the Apex Court ruled that the 774 local government areas be given full financial autonomy, thereby outlawing the practice of appointing caretaker local government chairman.
An iconic judgment that has restored grassroots democracy.
Now is granted. The local government chairman, if elected, he will get his money, he will sit down and design the budget, him and his councillors, and do whatever the people require from his own local government.
Going further to meet the public hearings on improved remuneration for judicial officers and reinforcing the integrity of the justice system, President Tinubu, on August 9, 2024, assented to the Judicial Officer Holder Salaries and Allowances Bill 2024 after the National Assembly had passed the bill. In June 2023, President Tinubu took another commendable step by signing into law a constitutional alteration bill which provided a unified retirement age for judicial officers of superior courts of record, mandating their remunerations to be charged to the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. This is to address the status quo where payment of retirement benefits of state judges is left to the state governments to handle, and in many cases, these retirement benefits are owed by the states. Legal commentators are of the view that these reforms are already impacting the judiciary.
The issue of anti-corruption, everybody is a stakeholder, believe me. Everybody is a stakeholder. And I believe that in fighting corruption, you must bring the subnationals on board.
Olaboderewa, NTA News.
Away from the judiciary now, let's flip the flow and delve into the key dynamics of the Nigerian economy in 2024. From naira liquidity and inflationary pressures to soaring prices and their ripple effects on the market. This year brought a blend of challenges and opportunities, with the federal government's expansive economic reforms and policy shifts under the Tinubu administration driving efforts to stabilize and reposition the economy for sustainable growth. With a focus on both monetary and fiscal measures, these initiatives aim to address structural inefficiencies and unlock long-term potential. Now, Musa Abubakar is here with an insightful presentation on some of the key economic indices that defined 2024. Take a look.
As Nigeria's economy navigates the complexities of growth and stability, the Central Bank of Nigeria continues to implement measures to address persistent challenges. Here are the key highlights of Q3 2024. To curb rising inflation, the central bank increased the monetary policy rate to 27.50%. This aggressive tightening reflects a determined effort to stabilize prices and safeguard economic growth.
Clearly, we are out to tighten money supply and to ensure that we have a robust structure in place as far as monetary tools are concerned to rein in inflation.
In the foreign exchange market, significant progress was recorded. Nigeria's foreign reserves grew to over $40 billion, providing a robust buffer against economic shocks and reinforcing investor confidence. The Naira moderated to over 1,500 Naira per dollar in the official market, thanks to the introduction of the electronic foreign exchange matching system. However, the parallel market tells a different story, with the Naira trading at over 1,600 Naira per dollar, highlighting ongoing challenges in achieving exchange rate convergence.
Very important for this convergence to be achieved, because we wipe away speculative activities, round-tripping activities around the exchange rate or around the exchange rate of the Naira to other currencies that speculators are taking advantage of.
When you look at the facts, the figures, the evidence, we can see that progress is being made. However, when we look at the figures on food security or lack of it, when we look at the figures on multi-dimensional poverty, when we look at some of the employment figures and our experience, we know that much more needs to be done.
On the other hand, the Nigeria Customs Service had a revenue target of 1.27 trillion and 1.3 trillion in Q2 and Q3 respectively, and has also been able to generate 1.39 trillion and 1.57 trillion respectively.
And if the Ministry of Finance does not release your funds, having met all the necessary criteria, completed your procurement process, the Ministry of Finance will be scored low for non-release of funds. So we recognize that, and we're working to ensure that that is not repeated in 2025, and also ensure within the extension of the budget we amplify and, ensure that we deliver extensively within that period.
Despite the challenges, the central bank's strategic interventions underscore its commitment to building a resilient economy with growing reserves, enhanced liquidity, and innovative policies. Nigeria is on a cautious yet optimistic path towards sustainable growth.
Joining me now in the studio are two of our seasoned business and economy correspondents, Nika Oku and of course Musa Abubakar. Ladies and gentlemen, let's unpack some of the metrics that Musa already highlighted earlier as we reflect on the year's economic journey. Many thanks for joining me, first and foremost, Musa and Nika.
It's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
All right, so I'd like to begin with the lady. Nika, kindly take us through the economic reforms on the fiscal side so far embarked upon and their possible impact on the economy as well as prospects going into 2025.
All right. On the fiscal side, the federal government has been working on a number of fiscal reforms to improve its finances and promote economic growth. As in, basically what the government is trying to do is fix some of the underlying issues that have been holding the economy back. Now, one of the biggest problems has been the complexity of the tax system. There are too many taxes in Nigeria, and it's hard for businesses and individuals to keep track of them all. So the government is trying to simplify things by reducing the number of taxes, which is a great move because it will make it easier for people to comply with the tax laws. So far, the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, headed by Taiwo Yedele, has given a picture of what is to come. And the overriding principle is to do away with taxes with very low revenue yield, high cost of collection, and ultimate burden on the poor and small businesses. And the focus is on high revenue yield taxes that are broad-based and easy to collect.
All right, many thanks, Oko, for that beautiful explanation. Let's hear from Musa Abubakar now. Musa, monetary policy is key to price stability and curbing inflation. Now, inflation, of course, remains the bane of economic growth. So, take us through efforts so far taken on the monetary side to grow Nigeria's economy.
Okay, on the part of the Monetary Policy Authority, they've been very active when it comes to monetary policy tightening, and which we have seen over the periods, I mean, from last year moving to this year. We've seen the central bank continue to tighten monetary policy rate. Right now it's at around 27.50%. And the whole idea is to tighten so that they can check inflation. And we've seen food inflation in recent times. It's been one of the highest we've had. And the monetary policy authority have decided to play that particular role of monetary policy tightening. They have put development finance aside, saying that they will now collaborate with fiscal authorities to see how they can support agencies that maybe support farmers and other businesses, small businesses, to see how they can possibly finance them.
Many thanks, Musa Abubakar, and of course I'd like to appreciate Nika Oko for joining me on Reflections 2024. You're watching Reflections 2024, and we're taking a look at some of the defining moments of the year. Time now for a first break. When we return, we'll delve into government-labor relations, highlighting key negotiations and agreements that shaped the year. We'll spotlight the aviation sector, considered a true success story in 2024, with significant growth and renewed focus driving its transformation. Stay with us. There's much more to come.
The federal government of Nigeria wants vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Welcome back to Reflections 2024. The year 2024 was largely marked by intense engagement and critical moments for Nigeria's labor sector, defined by both tension and resolution. At the heart of the year's events were efforts to address long-standing challenges faced by the Nigerian workforce. From the introduction of a new national minimum wage to initiatives aimed at creating more decent job opportunities for the unemployed, the journey was as turbulent as it was transformative. Now, with resolutions reached, the Nigerian worker now looks ahead with cautious optimism for a renewed and promising future. Joseph Otsen takes us through the pivotal moments of the labor sector in 2024.
Amidst economic challenges, the minds of many Nigerian workers has been on improved wages and social safety nets. And that, which the current administration of President Bola Tinubu assured, saw a lot of intervention in 2024. The Tripartite Committee on National Minimum Wage, set up by the federal government as early as January, concluded its work, and further engagements between the President and critical stakeholders culminated into a 70,000 naira new national minimum wage signed into law with effect from 29th July 2024.
We're very satisfied with it, and some state governments have started implementing. Others have even gone beyond 70. So I believe that there's no problem with that whatsoever.
So some other governors are able to sign agreements for effective date to commence by January on the whole matter of issues.
Apart from the minimum wage, many salary structures, including pension, were reviewed. An increment between 25 to 35% approved effective from January 2024. Implementation also in progress.
TAD has finalized its plans to begin the payment of the accrued pension arrears related to the 32,000 naira pension increment that was recently announced by the federal government.
High costs of transportation and inflation are among major concerns of many Nigerian workers. However, the distribution of CNG-powered vehicles to the organized labor and other major actors in the transport sector by the federal government to reduce cost of transportation, cited labor leaders.
This step brings us closer to a future where both workers and the planet benefit from such forward-thinking policies, which is commendable.
Same excitement heralded the confirmation that 2 local refineries, Dangote and that of the old Port Harcourt refineries, are now operational.
So we are also expecting that in no time soon that the new Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream.
When there was increase in pump price of petroleum products, part of that agreement was that this station must work.
Creating employment opportunities for Nigerians is one of the major pillars of the Renew Hope agenda of the Tinubu administration, with about 2.5 million jobs within 3 years set as target.
So I want to assure you and assure all Nigerians that we will continue to renovate these skill centers to the standards that is.
Already, the National Directorate of Employment (NDE) has keyed in by flagging off its first phase of empowerment with more than 93,000 Nigerians benefiting through its Renew Hope Empowerment Initiative.
I'm delighted to inform you that about 40,000 out of the 93,731 persons enrolled in this program will be receiving training in ICT and digital skills.
And I hope that by next year, everything about strike will be a thing of the past, because I know that our partners, the labor union, will be working very closely to the upliftment of Nigeria.
High inflation may have made life difficult for workers. However, government measures to augment their income, provide palliatives, and reduce costs of transportation, some say, is now giving them hope that better days lie ahead. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Many thanks, Joseph. Interesting to see, some of those pictures. Now, as Nigeria strives to diversify its economy, the oil and gas sector remains a critical pillar of growth, employment, and development. However, 2024 was a year shadowed by concerns as sweeping reforms in the sector sparked uncertainty and challenges for stakeholders. Despite these worries, the year ended on a high note with significant achievements driven by enhanced security measures and strategic policies, marking a turning point in the industry's trajectory. Lydia Sampson reports on the pivotal moments of 2024 and a path forward for the oil and gas sector.
An economic lifeline necessary for success of other sectors. Government's resolve to unlock energy and natural resources is already yielding results across the value chains, creating a foundation for long-term economic growth. The restreaming of Port Harcourt Refining Company signals the commencement of crude oil processing from the plant. Key players believe delivery of petroleum products into the market is game-changing, ultimately battling competition and unraveling the beauty of deregulation and market forces.
And we are convinced beyond all doubt that without the support, perseverance and patience of Mr. President, we will not have achieved this feat.
Similarly, oil production surged up to approximately 1.8 million barrels per day from 1.4 million barrels per day in June as the government intensified efforts against oil theft and sabotage. Experts say this increase not only supports national revenue but also aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision for economic recovery.
ExxonMobil surplus divestment will receive ministerial approval in a matter of days, having been concluded by the regulator, NUPRC, in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA.
We're also resolving the industry problems. Once we resolve some of those industry problems, production is bound to increase.
The significance is that we're moving away from a challenge
that bedeviled and affected our economy.
Nigeria's oil and gas industry play a vital role in shaping the country's economic trajectory. It accounts for over 80% of export earnings and 60% of government revenue. As the backbone of Nigeria's economy, the industry's performance directly impacts the country's GDP, exchange rates, and overall economic stability. The implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act continues to reshape the sector by promoting transparency and local content development. In the same vein, recent executive orders have introduced fiscal incentives aimed at enhancing operational efficiency and attracting investment in non-associated gas projects. Even as presidential initiative on compressed natural gas is diversifying the energy mix and providing cheaper, cleaner fuel alternatives.
Because we are very intentional about spreading CNG to the reach of a common man. We don't envisage a situation where we have queues in CNG station like is obtainable in the petrol station. That is not our dream.
Between now and the end of first quarter, we'll be seeing at least additional 75 stations across Nigeria in the key principal cities.
The 2024 licensing round, launched by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, aims to attract international investors and boost domestic production through a transparent regulatory framework. Additionally, Dangote Refinery's ramp-up is expected to transform Nigeria into a net exporter of petroleum products, reducing reliance on imports. Despite these advancements, challenges remain, including potential disruptions in the Niger Delta and ongoing issues with infrastructure and crude oil theft. Nonetheless, the government's proactive measures signaled a promising trajectory for Nigeria's oil industry in 2024, fostering hope for sustained growth and stability. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Let's now bring in Lydia, our oil and gas correspondent, for a take on some of the issues raised in the highlights for 2024. Lydia, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Henry.
In the light of recent reports indicating that Nigeria's oil output has risen to 1.8 million barrels per day due to enhanced security measures, how sustainable are these measures in maintaining and further increasing production levels as projected by President Tinubu in the 2025 budget?
Thank you, Henry. Indeed, Nigeria is intensifying the fight against crude oil theft with a multifaceted approach which is meant mainly to improve oil production and stabilize the economy. And the enhanced security collaboration, which is a coordinated approach involving the military, the national oil companies, international oil companies, and other critical stakeholders in the oil and gas sector, is dismantling illegal refineries and also protecting pipelines and making sure they mitigate crude oil theft as part of efforts to save Nigeria from millions of dollars lost to crude oil theft. And let's not forget that the restreaming of Port Harcourt refinery is also bringing additional 60,000 barrels per day to the market. And federal government is also diversifying the energy mix with the introduction of compressed natural gas. But that's not just all. It is also clear that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very categorical that ending crude oil theft is not negotiable, and key players in the oil and gas sector are on board, knowing that this is a mandate that must be realized, knowing that it is premised on all of this, that Nigeria's economy will be stabilized. So I believe that the ambitious target of 2.6 billion barrel per day production that is projected in the budget come 2025 is feasible, but only if all of these coordinated efforts are genuinely and effectively implemented. So I believe we're on course, Yeri.
Very optimistic. Lydia Samson, NT's oil and gas correspondent. Many thanks for joining us, and thank you for your analysis.
Thank you, Yeri, for having me.
All right. The agricultural sector now, as the government continues to emphasize diversification beyond oil, the agricultural industry did indeed gain momentum in 2024, particularly in enhancing food security and driving income growth in rural communities. Despite these gains, challenges such as persistent inflation, environmental factors, and outbreaks of pests and diseases have continued to impact the sector's full potential. Musa Babaliu takes a look at the strides made within the non-oil economy, highlighting the successes and ongoing obstacles faced by the sector.
The cold and windy weather from December 2023 to February 2024 created favorable conditions for a successful wheat yield. This positively impacted the federal government's dry season farming, which ended in January 2024. A report on the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Grow Pocket project indicated that farmers cultivated 232,000 hectares during the 2023-2024 dry season farming. Wheat farming, under the presidential initiative, has injected 309 billion naira into the economy and created 60,000 jobs.
We'll start by good quality seeds and good extension services, good fertilization.
In response to increasing food inflation and concerns over national food security between February and March 2024, President Tinubu took decisive action by directing the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to distribute essential food supplies to vulnerable Nigerians. This initiative involved the release of 42,000 metric tons of food and 60,000 tons of rice sourced from the silos nationwide.
Mr. President's strategy is what can we do to bring down the price of food, but most importantly, to reverse the ugly trend of food insecurity in Nigeria.
The Central Bank of Nigeria also stepped in March 2024. It allocated 100 billion naira worth of fertilizer to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security.
Is aimed at amplifying food production capabilities and fostering price stabilization within the agricultural sector.
The year under review has been particularly challenging for Nigerian farmers, as heavy flooding has devastated numerous crop fields, especially in the northeast, northwest, and southeast regions. These environmental challenges have exacerbated existing vulnerabilities within the agricultural sector, stating targeted interventions to support farmers and stabilize food supply chains across the country. In July 2024, President Bola Tinubu took significant steps to address the ongoing conflict between herders and farmers by establishing the Ministry of Livestock Development. Idi Mukhtar Meha was appointed as the minister of the newly created ministry.
Our mission, therefore, is not just to grow this sector, but to transform it into a sustainable, resilient, and inclusive ecosystem for the private sector actors to thrive.
Additionally, Nigeria made notable advancement in seed production in 2024. The release of new varieties of maize and rice is a crucial development for enhancing agricultural productivity. The newly introduced seeds include Taylor maize and 4 varieties of rice: Faro 69, Faro 70, Nakrisa 3, and Nakrisa 4. Musa Babaliu, NTA News.
Another sector that recorded significant success in 2024 is the Nigerian aviation sector. It has emerged as one of the true success stories of the year, marked by remarkable growth and significant advancements, driven by sustainable efforts to modernize airports, improve passenger experience, and strengthen regulatory frameworks. As a result, Nigeria's aviation industry is now better equipped to meet the demands of a growing economy and an expanding travel market. In our next report, Aliyu Kabir takes a closer look at the milestones achieved within the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development in 2024, exploring both the prospects for further growth and the challenges that lie ahead.
The construction of the second runway under the present administration is a practical step for facility upgrade at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, which many say it's long overdue, taking into cognizance its importance to the nation's aviation sector. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development within the year under review was committed in a series of strategic partnerships and collaborations with various stakeholders from within and outside the country towards enhancing safety and security. In August 2024, for instance, the ministry signed a memorandum of understanding with Boeing to enhance the country's aviation industry. This partnership, the minister said, is to benefit Nigerian airlines and develop the country's civil aviation ecosystem. Still within the year under review, the country has also upgraded its airport facilities, including the installation of modern navigational aids and well-focused equipment. Within the last quarter of 2024, the need for the establishment of Fly Nigeria Act, which required government officials to patronize local carriers for international and domestic travels, is given due attention, which the minister said is preparing to lay a solid foundation for a stronger aviation industry in line with the agenda of the present administration.
The policies that will make sure that we allow our industry to grow. That's our focus as a government.
The ministry's commitment to advancing infrastructure and technology was further evident with the inauguration of the NCAA Flight Data Center recently, designed to enhance data collection, data analysis and monitoring of aviation activities. This project underscores the importance of digital transformation of the nation's aviation sector in line with the global best practices.
It will help NCAA proactively detect potential safety risk, enhance safety oversight. It will also enable data-driven decision-making to prevent serious incidents and accidents.
Despite efforts by regulators towards enhancing safety standards, passengers still within the outgoing year in many instances decry the number of issues, including inadequate response to the flight delays and cancellations, and the loss or damage of luggage and poor customer service.
My flight is supposed to take off 8:20 in the morning, so they reschedule it to 5:20. Earlier before now, I've been here for 4 hours.
Still within the year under review, the industry recorded notable air incidents, including the recent crash of October 24 involving a Skorsky helicopter operated by Eastwind Aviation, which ditched into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Boni-Finima. The incident involved 8 individuals on board, with 5 bodies recovered so far. These and many other strides within the Ministry of Aviation in year 2024, stakeholders in the industry say the strategies in the sector have ushered in innovations, transformation and excellence towards repositioning Nigeria as a leader in global aviation policy and practice. In Abuja, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Welcome back. For the last quarter of 2024, it was clear that the federal government was fighting the good fight in addressing Nigeria's internal security challenges, including the fight against insurgency, banditry and kidnapping. To further bolster these efforts, President Bola Tinubu's 2025 appropriation bill has allocated 4.91 trillion naira to the defense sector. A move expected to create a significant multiplier effect in enhancing Nigeria's overall security framework. Right, earlier on, I spoke with defense correspondent Nadatu Tidani. Nadatu, what are some of the highs and lows of military operations in 2024?
Several highs, Yenri. Joint Nigerian military operations since January 2024 led to the elimination of more than 8,000 terrorists, the rescue of more than 6,000 hostages, and the arrest of more than 11,000 terrorists as well, some of whom have already been prosecuted in accordance with the law. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, made this known in the review of annual joint operations and activities of the Nigerian military, which includes the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force. Troops also recovered 8,216 illegal weapons, more than 200,000 ammunition, and of course they intercepted the oil theft of an estimated sum of more than 57 billion naira towards achieving President Tinubu's directive of producing 2 million barrels of crude oil per day, as well as diversifying blue economy to reach a projected 34.8 trillion naira in 2025. All this aimed at boosting the economy. Synergy characterized most of the military operations in 2024, such as joint Operation Delta Safe between the Nigerian Navy and the Nigerian Air Force against oil vandals, and as well as operations between the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Navy. So another high was the elimination of terrorist commanders and the prosecution of several terrorists. On a low note, on a sad note, there was an alleged accidental bombing of communities in Sokoto State, a matter which is currently being investigated. And apart from that, 2024 has seen the Nigerian military enhance civil-military relations, as well as, of course, engage in several activities in communities, in their host communities, aimed at cementing this relationship and ensuring that they do not harbor terrorist groups and bandits and other criminal elements. So far, Yenre, I would say the highs outweighed the low parts of 2024 for the Nigerian military.
Many thanks, Najatu. You didn't mention that the Chief of Army Staff also passed on this year. Of course, that was a low moment for the Army, but I'm sure that, they have been able to go over that loss. Many thanks, Najatu, for joining us. And in sports, the year 2024 is best described as a mixed grill of triumph and losses, with Nigerian athletes dominating at some level and underperforming at others. Badia Adeleye has latest reports on reflections for 2024, and he will highlight the highs and lows in the Nigerian sports sector in 2024.
Many thanks, Thierry, and compliments of the season to you. A lot happened when it comes to sports in Nigeria in 2024. Now, let's begin our review of Nigerian sports in the year 2024 with the most followed sport in the country, football. The Super Eagles competed at the 2023 AFCON from January 13th to 11th February 2024. Despite not being tipped to succeed at the tournament, they impressed in Cote d'Ivoire and finished second, losing the final match to the host country. Evidently here, 3 Nigerian players were listed in the team of the tournament. And of course, Olaino, a defender, and of course, Captain William Troost Ekong, and Ademola Lukman. It never disappoints. 3 players in the team of the tournament. And not only that for Nigeria. Nigeria also rose in the FIFA rankings as Nigeria moved from number 6, to number 3, in Africa, and of course from 42nd to 20th in the world. They rose, 14 places in the FIFA rankings just immediately after AFCON 2023 played in 2024. Then came the 2023 African Games in Ghana, which was decided in March 2024 after being postponed by a year. Nigeria's youth showcased their prowess at the 13th African Games and dominated the athletics, boxing and weightlifting events, claiming 121 medals, including 47 gold, 34 silver and 40 bronze medals to finish second. Promising talents like Prestina Ochonogo and Joy Eze highlighted a new generation ready to take the from the legends. Egypt were just too strong for Nigeria, but the positives, we saw Nigeria really lead the athletics table. Nigeria topped the athletics table, and then boxing and weightlifting were other events that Nigeria really succeeded at the African Games. Now, after impressing in Ghana, hopes were high for Nigerian athletes at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Things, however, did not go as planned as the country's contingent returned home empty-handed, but had enough room to pick along themselves controversies. Nigeria's senior women's basketball team were, however, the shining lights as they impressed by qualifying for the quarterfinals, becoming the first team in African basketball to achieve the historic feat, while athletics, table tennis, boxing and other popular sports failed to deliver. And of course, looking at the other corner there, you can see zero medals for Nigeria at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Not really funny. And of course, if you look at the general graph, since, for a long time now that Nigeria has been competing at the Olympics, 2024 Nigeria got 0. Unlike in 1996 when Nigeria got nothing less than 6 medals at the Atlanta Olympics, including, the football gold. And of course, this is happening again after Nigeria couldn't come with anything in 2012 in London. But the Paralympic Games, however, provided the needed relief as Team Nigeria claimed 7 medals made up of 2 gold, 3 silver and 2 bronze medals, with Folasade Oluwafemi Ayo, Onyechi Mark and Eniola Bolaji being the stars of the show. Then the big change finally came to Nigerian sports sector as President Bola Tinubu approved the replacement of the Ministry of Sports Development with the National Sports Commission. Shehu Diko was named the chairman, with Bukola Olopade appointed as the director general. The country also hosted the second African Military Games after 22 years of waiting in Abuja. About 20 countries, including Nigeria, competed in 19 sports, with the Nigerian Armed Forces emerging the winners, with a total of 234 medals, made up of 114 gold, 65 silver and 55 bronze medals. Now, the big one came in December 2024 as Nigeria's Ademola Lookman topped his 14th place finish in the 2024 Ballon d'Or by emerging the African Footballer of the Year. It caps an outstanding year for the Atlanta forward who impressed for the Super Eagles and his club. Chiamaka Nnadozie and Super Falcons also emerged the Women's Goalkeeper and National Team of the Year at the awards ceremony. Now, the heroics of our athletes in other sports like rugby, cricket, wrestling, cycling, Scrabble, golf and many others cannot go unnoticed as they put the nation on the spotlight. Looking forward to the year 2025, the National Sports Festival and Youth Games, Federation elections, Women's Football Nations Cup and AFCON 2025 for men, which will come later, are among events to look forward to as the nation targets a change in fortune in sports. And that's a review of Nigerian sports in 2024. Let's now return to Yeri. And Yeri, again, compliments of the season to you. Let's do sports together in 2025.
All right, thank you so much, Badi. With that, we'll round off our reflections on 2024. As the curtain falls on this year, we stand at the crossroads of reflection and anticipation, a moment to celebrate our achievements, confront our challenges, and chart a path towards a brighter future. Reflections 2024 has helped us to journey across the critical sectors of Nigeria's national life, uncovering stories of resilience, innovation, and progress that inspire hope for what lies ahead. As we step into 2025, let us carry forward the lessons of the past year and the collective resolve to shape a stronger, more united Nigeria. The prospects are bright and the possibilities are endless. Here's to a new year filled with growth, opportunity, and shared success. Thank you, everyone. I'm Yenwe John, and I see you shining in 2025.